microphone's definitely working. Maybe I'll lower that a little bit.
Actually, if you can leave it up, it might feed back if you put it further away from your mouth.
Oh, okay. All right, well, thanks for sticking around, everybody. All the diehards have hung out in the afternoon. Wait to listen to all the good, cool stuff. I'm Glenn Letham, as Ken said. I've got a history in GIS. I'm a geographer and UVic alum, like a few folks around here. It's like a reunion here almost, in some respects. So I'm a UVic co-op grad. Back in the day when the government used to hire GIS techs, I worked a couple of internships. And I kind of gravitated towards the private sector. Decided to go that route, and so now I guess I'm a geo-evangelist, so to speak. I'm kind of hands-off. I don't really work hands-on with software and hardware anymore, except for reviewing apps. And one of my passions has been mobile technology. That's probably how I wound up here today indirectly. I've founded several websites, e-magazines, blogs, whatever you want to call them. Everybody refers to them in different ways. A couple of them, though, Symbian One is a resource devoted to mobile application development for the Symbian OS. Not a real hot topic in North America, but if you're a Nokia fan, you would know what it's all about. And LBS Zone, maybe a publication you might not have heard of, but it's focused on location-based services. And I think we kind of I got a little ahead of ourselves. Actually, I rolled that out in 2003. So, I mean, that's how long this technology's been around. And back then, I thought, wow, LBS is going to be it. And, we're still talking about it. We're still reading, all the fluffy PR and stuff. Well, next year, it's coming. It's coming. LBS is going to be it. So, it's just here. And so anyway, I'm going to talk today a little bit about social media and maybe how it can play a role, a little tailored to you folks in local government, and what you can do with it, and what you might want to do with it, and some considerations. I threw a few terms up there: social media, mobile tech, OpenGov, Web 2.0, things like that. These crowdsourcing, OpenGov. Seems like all these terms to the geo person anyway are all getting intertwined. They're all, there's a relationship between them all, and they all kind of work nicely together. There we go. I just had to put it up there anyway. I've got a couple of these buttons as prizes anyway, so two of you lucky folks will walk away with these special edition GeoTweeter buttons. So some incentive for sticking around to the end. So like I said, I really think that mobile has really driven social, and social has driven mobile as well. Here's a figure from some really recent stats. You can see mobile technology. There's almost 25 million mobile subscribers in Canada. So, I mean, everybody has a mobile device now. And that's switching more so to smartphones. People are upgrading their plans. Everybody's getting smartphones. I'm sure probably 90%, if not more, just about everybody in here, I would assume, has a smartphone. And what I mean by that is a device that is web-friendly, just a little smarter than the typical dumb flip phone that you might have had a couple of years ago. See, a couple of interesting stats on here from the research. You see data usage soaring. They're actually looking at data usage tripling in the next couple of years. That's how much this data consumption is taking off. And it's really driving the way, I think, how we're all going to have to innovate. Something of interest to website as a developer, perhaps, you got to consider websites built with Flash are not too accessible by a lot of the mobile world. The mobile space is really dominated by iOS, and in particular the tablet space. Apple just owns the tablet space, over 80% market share. So it's really something to consider if you're approached, you've got to create a web service for your city. You got to take that into consideration, because if you're running Flash, a lot of the people aren't going to be able to use it. What else? Let's move on. Challenges for developers. I had to throw that up because I got a kick out of it. It just I went to load the conference application, and kudos to MISA BC for actually having a iPhone app. I've been to huge conferences that don't have mobile apps, and it kind of blows my mind these days. This, not to pick on them at all, but it's just a consideration. Obviously, this was developed with kind of the latest and greatest tools and SDKs and whatnot. But I was surprised to see it because it's actually the first app that I've gone to install recently that yelled at me that I wasn't able to. And you might say, well, Glenn, why don't you just update your OS? But I have a jailbroken iPhone, and so I choose not to run updates that often just because it's a nightmare. So social media, it's all about sharing. That's what social media is. It's just sharing what is cool, what's cutting edge. People just love to share. Social is, quite often though, it's done without thought. I see a lot of people sharing stuff, but people are sharing really without a lot of thought. I see that a lot in retweets and whatnot. I honestly don't. I think like half of the time, the stuff that people are sharing, they're not actually reading. They just maybe see a cool headline. That's why it's so important to have a cool, catchy headline in your tweet. But on the downside, I really don't know if everybody is that familiar with what they're actually sharing. So it's a consideration. As you're creating your apps and services, keep in mind you'll be under pressure to incorporate some kind of sharing tools. You'll see this is from one of my web pages, all the sharing options. I think what's significant, you see the more part, 330. So you have an option of sharing that web page with 330 different social services. I mean, that's how many there are out there, and I'm sure that's probably understated. And from the mapping world, this might look familiar. This is from ArcGIS Online Explorer, ArcGIS Explorer, I guess. Also significant, I think, is the ability to take a map, post it directly to Facebook, or else just grab the embed code. I love it. I kind of cringe when I find some great public maps out there and I can't share them. So this is really cool, and I know it's an Esri plug. I'm open to any solution, but they're doing a good job of just bringing awareness to that, and they're making a lot of their stuff shareable. And this stuff does work too, by the way. I'm a publisher, and when I write a blog about a social news map, I don't know if is everybody familiar with the social news maps that Esri has been cranking out? Typically, they have to do with sharing. No? Okay, maybe I'll explain a little if you want. What they do is Esri just creates a mashup, much like what Tanya just did. They create a simple map, and they're scraping data from social sites. So they're scraping tweets, Flickr photos, and YouTube videos. And then they'll mash it up, typically with data from a government source, like it might be, what's the case, NOAA data. So information, and they've been using these for large-scale emergency situations. So earthquakes, wildfires has been another scenario. And what I found really interesting is when I write a blog post and I embed the map, which I love, so I can do it in about 2 minutes. I'll embed a map of where the wildfires are happening. The traction on those posts is incredible. They get read like 20 times more than anything else I'll write. So that's kind of why I've kind of become the social geo guy in the publishing space, just because I'm really focusing on that a lot. So as you jump, I'm assuming here, okay, you're a local government person and you're getting pressure to, hey, we got to start looking at social media. Are we going to use it? And if so, how are we going to use it? So some of the uses you might consider, things that are really tailored nicely for social media. Sharing your news, obviously. Event updates. Social and events are really made for each other. They work well, and there's a lot of really good synergies there. There's also the civic engagement updates, so like road closures. What else? Emergency information, so locations of shelters, things like that. We talked a bit about riots and uses, Vancouver riot, how you could use social media for that. I think there's a lot of cases. I think one of the things that got mentioned this morning I thought would be cool was, a lot of people were stuck downtown Vancouver. How do they get out of it? They're stuck in the middle of that riot that was going on. How do they get out? Well, maybe just a simple map that was showing a possible route where you might want to go. That could work well. Job postings are real popular on social media streams, so if it's a good way to go. Sharing your videos. So you guys, like a lot of social evangelists out there, you guys are content creators too, and the social media streams are a really good way of sharing your content and getting it out there. So, to tweet or not to tweet, why I'm going to talk about this is, again, your agency, if you're looking at just getting going in social media, I think that a critical issue is that you have to look at a social media policy. Don't just jump in there. A lot of people are doing it. I know that's what I did. But stepping back, you've got the luxury now